My name is Sparkle, and spaghetti is breakfast food.
Ooh, yes
It is. My name is Ruth, and I still put my panties over my bra. What's up?
To this day?
To this day.
And my name is Izzy, and quick question, hands up for all the Haitians that actually know how to play wool sled. Still, that's a classic game. You know, the one with the bones? We'll circle back. But welcome to La Vie en Creole, where we discuss all things Haitian American, mostly so that you know that you're not alone in the trauma that you've experienced, whether it be comedic or otherwise.
My name is Azalia, and you either stay in or you stay out, but you're not going to be running in and out.
Don't let that cold air out. My name is Harold, and I do participate in disparaging conversations with my aunts about my cousins, baby mamas, and or girlfriends.
I know that's right.
Today's theme is Haitians and Black Americans.
Fuck is that? Who is you to be asking me questions?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
I like that too. This goes out to you. This goes out to you. You. This goes out to you. This goes out to you. You. This goes out to you. This goes out to you. You. This goes out to you. This goes out to you.
What made you think that they thought they were better than you as a result of you being American versus just the way we were raised?
Just
because we are raised not to have friends. To be.
We're not supposed to be friends.
Yeah.
None of us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Legit.
Okay, that's eye-opening. But I'll speak from the point of view that's like everyone continuously asking me, what kind of black are you? Mm-hmm. And my people are from the South. Mm-hmm. So I always say black, or as we referred to earlier, regular black, because I was so used to people asking me what type or where are you from, and I'm just like, what's wrong with, you know what I'm saying, the blacks that was here already. But
don't look or have a physical characteristic that might be a little bit different than what the perceived perspective. Because my hair got a little loose curl, little wave to it.
A little. Where you from? You Dominican?
He's Panamanian.
But it's like, but you get like the, where's your parents from? No, like where they from, or like
people from.
Honestly,
but that's the shit that also like the white kids at high school asked me.
Right.
So that was the shit that made me like very like, that's the question. Yeah, because
they know black people exist outside of the U.S.
But it wasn't that. It wasn't that, because they could point to Italy, they can point to Poland, they can point to Ireland, they can point to whatever uncivilized European nation that exists, right?
You heard him right.
What's funny, I was going to say the views of Harold is not the views of everyone else, and it's just like, no, they are.
He's correct. This show, thank you.
But it might be the views of us as individuals. Yikes!
She told me I could act like Boosie. You said it.
She did.
She did.
She damn sure did.
She did. With a little bit of Dubois. All right.
William Edward Bouchard Dubois is Haitian. But continue.
All right. So that was like double triggering, because it's also like, why the fuck can't you just believe that I'm just a regular ass black person from like a regular ass place in New Jersey? Like I can send you. I can like. My elders are from like West Virginia and Georgia and Virginia and shit like that. Yeah. But like, there was this like, why you don't believe me?
It felt like it wasn't enough.
Yes. It felt very insufficient. Yes. That's a great way to explain it.
You feel insufficient amongst these people that know where they've come from, down to the villages, down to how you got your last name. Mm-hmm. And when you know, as a Black American, it's very convoluted. My last name is Brown. that
That ain't from Africa.
that's not from that's not from Africa, but it's just like the history behind black names in America. It stems from slavery, and so it's like that you get, you know, however many generations we are removed, and it's like you have this black person who, yes, we created our own culture here, but to others, you know, from the outside looking in, doesn't look like much of a culture. It's like you took the scraps of what you could and made what you, and I think that's where that sense of pride comes from, because we created that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm, you're not gonna come here and tell me what I don't have.
Yeah.
Hold up, we created that
You're
shit.
here.
I mean, I will say I definitely feel y'all on 80%, because I think my issue, especially in Binghamton, both me and Azalia went to Binghamton together. Go Bearcats.
What's up?
Who knows?
Let me Google that.
Whatever you're imagining, that's what it looks like.
Exactly. I will say, I feel you, right? The sentiment that, and I would love to know why you felt like it wasn't enough, and that's my follow-up question, but I will also say it blew mine when people was like, oh, you know where you're from. We're from slaves too, bro. I have a slave name too.
Our last names.
Right? Yeah. And like, because it's French, my issue is like, people think that it's fancy as though it's not the same barbarism that y'all experience. Like, it's, and that bothers me, right? So we dealt with scrap. Why is Sparkle showing us pictures of fucking Bearcats? Google it. Google. So that part bothered me because, like, there's so much nuance because we're talking about race and the intersections thereof. But, like, I can't tell you where in Africa I'm from either. There were Native Americans on Hispaniola as well, and Columbus landed on Hispaniola as well and killed all of them motherfuckers, like a majority of them as well.
On the way
right?
to the Americas.
On the way to, right? But that's even the point. Like, the Caribbean is a part of the New World. It is a part of the Americas, and people forget that. So to me, it's just like, yes, we have a culture, and it seems quote unquote othered or exotic, but like, we are descendants of slaves as well. It's not as though like I know where I'm from because I'm in your country, but I don't know where I'm from from Africa, from the mainland, right? But to your point about like feel like it's not enough, I will be more aware of that. I think because I definitely asked like, oh, where's your parents from? Because I didn't grow up around Black Americans. I grew up in RC. I did, like, my friend, obviously my family's Haitian, but all my friends were Haitian. Never really had to speak English completely, Haitian, like, or Creole completely, Haitian Creole completely. Even our elementary school, I joke about like being a queen of cop over. Our elementary school, PS76, we had a Carrot Fest. Like, our plays were about being from the Caribbean. So I honestly never had to consider Black Africans and Black Americans. Yeah. So like, and by the time, I mean, I had critical thought, but by the time I'm in Binghamton, to me, everyone's from somewhere else. Like, when we come back at 4th grade, 5th grade, you come back and you're like, where'd you go that summer? I went to Haiti. They went to Grenada. They went to Panama. It wasn't a conversation about going down south. It genuinely wasn't my reality. So it wasn't a point to be disrespectful as though it wasn't enough. And I definitely understand why, like, because you're not. That wasn't your situation. Right. But it was like, I've seen my Haitian friends be like, they're American, and then you say, where's your parents from? And they're like, Haiti. So you ask that to find out the actual answer to your question.
It's really, it's that part of the conversation. It's fine. It's the quizzical looks you get after that response. You sure?
Cool.
Yeah.
Somebody said you're sure?
For real?
No, you get sure.
I know.
Yes.
This is my dating life. This is like what guys ask. What do you make? Where you come from? Where are your parents from? I'm Black. Yeah. My family's from the South. Yeah. Sorry to bother you. Like, I don't know. Is there just something that's a little bit more alluring to a Black American, I guess?
I think with the quizzical look that you're talking about is like to the point that Ruth was making. Like, we all have grown, West Indians in general usually grow up in West Indian neighborhoods. And so if you're constantly asking that question and there's always an answer, when there's no answer, it's always like, mindfuck, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. What do you mean there's nothing else after? But what about your grandmother's grandmother? Yeah. And then there's also what you were saying
shack
about,
down south. That's what that nigga's born. But I think that's something interesting that you brought up, though, because I think that's a shared immigrant experience, right? Like, you grow up in community, right? And so I again, from outside looking in, right? So I wonder how much that contributes to it, and then you add on another layer of being black in this country, and then you add on another layer of being black in this country, not from this country, with a funny accent or like a different, a different language that's yours, right? So there's all of these like things that are coming at your survival and like your lived experience, and the only safe space that you have is that community, right? Because there's conversations. I remember like in my middle school, we had a boy, there was a Haitian kid, a kid from Barbados, who's actually like born in Barbados, and I remember us traveling outside. That was my first time seeing like a green card or a different kind of passport, because he had a like, how would you describe, what's the adjective form of Barbados?
Bayesian, but people say Barbadian also, but Bayesian is the popular.
I know a lot of people who are Bayesian who hate the Barbadian thing. So,
but Bayesian people will say Barbadian too.
It's true. I've heard them say it as well, but they usually say it because they know that we'll know that we're talking about Barbadians.
Okay.
But like, not because they like it.
I think he had a Bayesian passport. Talking about what's it called? So like there, I grew up around. I had experiences with kids who are from immigrant communities, specifically black immigrant communities, and it's interesting now that I actually think about it, because I haven't thought about it since forever. But like they were like tight, right? Like they had their own. Probably like 4 or 5 kids in my class or something like that, but like they also had a shared experience, and so I don't know. I just wonder, like, not that I don't know. I just wonder how all of the layers coming into place, land and congeal.
So I don't know if y'all remember Amadou Diallo or Abner Louima.
Yeah.
So Abner Louima was right. Abner Louima is Haitian, and Diallo was from Guinea, West Africa. And I think and it's unfortunate that that's the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about how does it congeal, how does it overlap. But like when we come from predominantly black countries, so it's not that we don't know we're black, we have eyes, but like the idea of our race being the determining point of oppression versus shade, color, access, class, it is a kind of culture shock. And when things like that happen, it's like, oh, we're not that separate from them. Like, they're still going to treat us the same way.
Absolutely.
The police state will still treat us the same way, as though we're below them, even though we're not. And it's unfortunate. And I think after Abner Louima, there was we always march, but even the AIDS thing, when they blamed us for AIDS, there was like a big march as well, like on Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. But when it comes to a head, sometimes it's just the kids. I'm not gonna say my family will say the same thing to this day, but they might about Black Americans.
Can I say this though? I feel like another reason why we have this quote unquote unspoken beef is because I know that at one point I'm thinking, wow, these people that are, from a foreign land, they have another language as their first language. To me, that's admirable. And then to come to the United States and have to learn English and then be fluent in that. But, what we don't know until later on is that bilingual skill that you have is going to afford you more jobs, more opportunities. And so I feel like from that perspective, a lot of the times, I feel like Black Americans are jealous in that way, because it's like, sometimes it's like, y'all didn't ask for another language, but you had to acclimate and learn this language to survive here. Where we, that might have been an elective for us, speaking Spanish, French, whatever it was, but whatever school you went to would have afforded you that opportunity up until a point. So you're never going to be really fluent unless you take it upon yourself to do that. But I feel like, all that to say, in the same way you feel like people from foreign lands are fetishized, it's like sometimes those are the people that are getting those big opportunities as well. Interesting. And it's not based on that. I do believe that obviously the work ethic is there, but that is just a little razzle dazzle on top.
A little sprinkle on top.
A little razzle dazzle.
Heard you.
And again, that like that comical contradiction of racism. Trademark. a lot of immigrants will not teach their children their foreign language because they think that it will be a handicap, and they do not see the value of it. So like I have worked as an interpreter and a translator, and there is money in it, but there's a lot of people that will, Haitians themselves will say it's broken French, it's not valuable. Don't teach them because they don't want them to be an outsider. They want them to assimilate as much as possible. That's a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, folks as well. So like just hearing you say that, like, oh wow, y'all speak another language as a benefit, when oftentimes they see it as a negative thing, is wild.
The two perspectives are really interesting though. Absolutely.
Wow, it's crazy that, I mean, I guess I have a question just coming from a first generation standpoint. I mean, obviously, your family wanted better for you and generations to come, but, like, what would be the benefit to not teaching you where you come from? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the benefit to leaving that behind?
I feel like some of these people left Haiti for different... They left Haiti for different reasons. So some people were actually trying to escape dictatorship or whatever traumas they may have gone through. Right. And so a lot of those people, I find, are the ones who have children who are like, I do not know Creole, I'll never learn Creole, just because their parents are just like, we're forgetting it. It's clipped. It's over. That's not even a part of us anymore. We just happen to have been from there, but now we're from here. Whereas there are parents, like I would say our parents, who are, they came here because there was a chance to come here. Right. And it's not necessarily because they were running.
I would say, and to answer that too though, even within Haiti, like, you know how here, I think for Black Americans it would be like, oh, speak proper English, don't say what had happened, even though that is grammatically correct. And it's very unfortunate. I'd be having to fucking teach that to my students, and it's mad uncomfortable. It's like, you can't use it, but if they use it on the SATs, it is correct because the participle. But
interesting.
Even within Haiti, our national language was French for mad long. So Creole, even within the country, wasn't ranked. It wasn't whatever, right? So like the way that it's spoke is considered like, especially if you had money, quote unquote slang, even though it's not slang. And you'll still find Haitians to this day that won't speak to you in Creole, will speak to you in French so that you know that they had money or access or like went to school. Yeah, so and like the bureaus, the government, the school for a very long time was only French, which positioned it in such a way that like Creole is quote unquote less than. So now when they come here, they don't want their kids in the ESL class that's down the hall, there's no light bulbs down there. They get made fun of. They want to assimilate as much as possible because they see how immigrants are treated in different ways, including disproportionately deported. And they think that being wholly American will afford them something. They learn later on it doesn't, but they don't, right? And they don't know about, like, when they come here, they're like, oh, just be these 3 professions. They don't know about interpreting or translating, and they don't know how much money, right? And you can be paid up to $250 an hour to interpret. There are Haitians who need to communicate with their lawyers or with the government or with their jobs. But that's also a matter of access. So they are also, there's internalized, and I think this may have been my issue sometimes with like the way Black Americans talk to me or speak to my experience. Like there's also internal hatred with us too. Like, it's not like we just out here in feathers on the fucking parkway and we love every facet of ourselves. We're taught to, and not us 3, because we all speak, like, our parents, Creole, part of Creole Compone, but there's some that's just like, my aunt, born and raised in Haiti, would get beat if she spoke Creole in front of her aunt in Haiti.
Crazy.
So there's still internalized hatred and racism within the community. That's why sometimes I'm like, I don't like that fetishizing exoticism, like, oh, you have a culture and I don't shit, because we going through similar shit.
Right.
Like,
I think it comes down to how we're introduced to each other's culture, because if you have you have some type of understanding of what it is, what Black people are like, you're never going to make the true effort to make a Black friend and understand their plight.
Absolutely.
Because if you're already coming into it with the mindset that we are less than, or we are entitled to a degree, or we're lazy, then of course you don't want to associate yourself with that. That you want to stay as far from that as possible, because that's like, you know, the American Black narrative. But I feel like if we just, you know, acknowledging we have differences, that's not going anywhere. But like coming into meeting somebody from the Caribbean, or meeting an American Black person, and just seeing who they are as an individual, you know, obviously you'll collect your data over time of what Black Americans are like, but like, I think now more than ever we're coming closer to that.
This comes out for you. This comes out for you. You. This comes out for you. This comes out for you. You. This comes out for you. This comes out for you. You. This comes out for you. This comes out for you.